भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text number 36. Yeah, 36 onwards, 1836. Sukham tva idanim trividham shunu me bharatarshava abhyasad ramate yatra दुखांतं च निगच्छति। सुखम हैप्पीनेस to but idanim now trividham of three kinds shunu here may from me bharatarshava O best amongst the Bharatas, Abhyasat by practice, Ramate one enjoys, Yatra where, Dukkha of distress, Antam the end, Cha also, Nigachati gains. O best of the Bharatas, now please hear from me about the three kinds of happiness by which the conditioned soul enjoys and by which he sometimes comes to the end of all distress. Purport: a conditioned soul tries to enjoy material happiness again and again. Thus he chews the chewed, but sometimes in the course of such enjoyment he becomes relieved from mental entanglement by association with the great soul. In other words, a conditioned soul is always engaged in some type of sense gratification. But when he understands by good association that it is only a repetition of the same thing, then he is awakened to his real Krishna consciousness. He is sometimes relieved from such repetitive, so-called happiness. Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुवैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome you all for the Bhagavad Gita class. So Today we are discussing on about the three kinds of happiness. So as we know that in this 17th and 18th chapter, Krishna is categorizing everything based on the three moods. So everything actually in this world can be categorized based on the three moods. Just like in computer, if you know that we have only three basic colors, RGB, red, green, blue, and by combining that we get millions of colors. So in this material world, there are three modes: mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. And by combining all of that, we get all the varieties are because of the three modes. So all the different species, so some species may have, let's say 99% mode of goodness, 1% mode of passion, so like that, different combinations. Some may have more mode of ignorance, less passion, very little goodness. So based on the combination of the three modes, we get all the different types of species. Similarly, everything, our faith also is in three modes. The food that we eat, that also is on three modes, can be categorized in three modes. Everything in this world, even music, our clothes, everything can be categorized in based on the three modes of material nature. Now here, Krishna is talking about happiness. Happiness in three modes. So he's saying, "O Arjuna, I will now tell you about three kinds of happiness by which conditioned soul enjoys." So Srila Prabhupada is explaining that everyone wants to enjoy in this world. Everyone wants to enjoy happiness, like chewing the chewed. Prahlad Maharaj says, "Punas punas charvita charvananam." Sometimes we have you taken ganna juice? If you go to Govardhan Parikrama, so sugarcane juice. So once you take out the juice and again you'll get very little juice. Third time you put, maybe nothing. But again and again if you put, you'll not get anything. But chewing the chewed. But we are so foolish that we have been doing the same thing birth after birth. Chewing the chewed, the same four things: eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Sometimes we have done as animals, sometimes as demigods, sometimes as kings, sometimes as beggars. So we have already done all these things, but still we want to chew the same chewed again and again. And Prabhupada is meaning that such a person, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavana Jeev, Guru Krishna Kripa Pai Bhakti Lata Pish. So after wandering throughout, trying to enjoy the senses, a fortunate person may actually meet a devotee of Krishna. And by that association, he can understand what is Krishna consciousness, and then he can be relieved from so-called material happiness. Now, what are the three kinds of happiness in different modes? Let us hear now. So verse 37, Krishna is saying, happiness in the mode of goodness. Yat tat agre visham iva pariname amritopamam tat sukham satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. That which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mood of goodness. Once again, that which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mood of goodness. Purport: in the pursuit of self-realization, one has to follow many rules and regulations to control the mind and the senses and to concentrate the mind on the self. All these procedures are very difficult, bitter like poison. But if one is successful in following the regulations and comes to the transcendental position, he begins to drink real nectar and he enjoys life. So what is happiness in mode of goodness? In the beginning it appears like poison, but the end result is nectar. Like sadhana bhakti. We may not like it sometimes, getting up early in the morning, now winter season in Vrindavan, following the rules and regulations, following relative principles, not eating anything outside prasad. Sometimes you feel, what is this, so much austerities. But no, this may appear to be little difficult in the beginning, but if you can continue in this process, we'll get Amrit in the end. Any spiritual process. In the beginning, it's difficult. It may appear to be like poison. But if you can continue, then definitely we'll get nectar at the end. That is mode of goodness. Like Rishabdev tells to his 100 sons that Nayam Dehadev Hajamni Loke Kashtan Kaman Arhate Vidbhujamte Tapo Divyam Putraka Yena Sattvam Shuddhet Yena Brahma Sukhat Anantam. So he says that human life is meant for tapasya, tapo divyam. And tapasya means what? Voluntarily accepting some difficulty. That is called tapasya. So he's saying, my dear sons, human life is meant for tapasya. But which kind of tapasya? Tapo divyam, divine tapasya. People in this world, they also do tapasya sometimes. Getting up early in the morning, driving 2 hours, going to office, working whole day. Sometimes people, they do 2 shifts. That is also tapasya, but that is material tapasya. But if someone does spiritual tapasya, so the beginning, it may be a little difficult, but the end result will be nectar. That is mode of goodness. So mode of goodness means beginning like poison, end like nectar. What about mode of passion? Krishna is saying, Vishendriya samyogat yattat agre amrutopamam Pariname visham iva tatsukham rajasam smritam. That happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects and which appears like nectar at first but poison at the end is said to be in the nature of passion. Purport. A young man and young woman meet and the senses drive the young man to see her, to touch her and to have sexual intercourse. In the beginning, this may be very pleasing to the senses, but at the end or after some time, it becomes just like poison. They are separated or there is divorce, there is lamentation, there is sorrow, etc. Such happiness is always in the mode of passion. Happiness derived from such a combination of the senses and sense objects is always a cause of distress and should be avoided by all means. So Prabhupada gives a very strong purport. He says, what is mode of passion? Happiness in mode of passion. In the beginning it may seem to be very good, like nectar, very enjoyable. But the end result is poison. End result is poison. Pariname Visham, 18.38. End result is Visha, like poisonous. Gives the example just like young men and women. In the beginning, if they have some illicit relation, in the beginning it may appear to be very nice. But later Prabhupada says it may end in divorce or sometimes even murders and ghastly scenes. We all know love stories, how they end. So this is one example. It's like that any example you take. Somebody who drinks, in the beginning it may seem to be very good, but later he'll have liver cancer. So anything you talk of sense enjoyment, in the beginning it may feel very good, but later it will be source of suffering, miseries. Any kind of sense enjoyment you talk about, in the beginning it will look good, but in the end it will result in poison, more suffering. Like for example, people don't control their tongue and they eat everything, and then later in the old age they'll have more health diseases. What old? Even young people, they have diabetes, they have so many diseases these days because of irregular lifestyle, because of not controlling the senses, because of eating fast food and whatever. So in the beginning it may seem to be very good. Oh, I am having food every day outside different restaurants. But very soon the whole digestive system gets spoiled. I know somebody was saying that some person who was always eating outside, his food pipe got something spoiled, something like that. So we can have terrible diseases. In the beginning it may seem very good. And somebody is smoking, in the beginning he feels very, I am smoking 10 cigarettes, but later lung cancer. So whatever form of sense gratification talk about, it's always very, in the beginning It may seem to be good, but in the end it's like poison. There is another category. So first category, mode of goodness, is poison in the beginning, nectar in the end. Mode of passion is nectar in the beginning, poison in the end. And mode of ignorance is poison in the beginning, poison in the end. So that's the third category. Yad agre chanubandhe cha sukham mohanam atmana nidralasya pramaduttam tattamasam udaritam. And that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness and illusion, is said to be of the nature of ignorance. Purport: one who takes pleasure in laziness and in sleep is certainly in the mode of ignorance, darkness. And one who has no idea how to act and how not to act is also in the mode of ignorance. For the person in the mode of ignorance, everything is illusion. There is no happiness neither in the beginning nor at the end. For the person in the mode of passion, there might be some kind of ephemeral happiness in the beginning, but at the end, distress. But for the person in the mode of ignorance, there is only distress, both in the beginning and in the end. So this is mode of ignorance. Happiness in mode of ignorance, distress in the beginning, distress in the end. Mode of passion means some happiness in the beginning, but distress in the end. And happiness in the mode of goodness, some distress in the beginning, but happiness at the end. It is said, all is well that ends well. That is mode of goodness. In the beginning there may be some difficulty, but the end is the best. So this is what is the three modes. I just remembered one story. Srila Prabhupada says, you must have heard this, that how once a sadhu, he goes on a tour and he meets first a king's son, a prince. So looking at him, he says, Ma maro, you don't die. Rajputra na maro. Why? Because the prince is having nice enjoyment, but after dying he will have suffering. Better you just live like that, don't die. Then he went to a saintly person, not actually brahmachari, who was undergoing a lot of tapasya, maintaining celibacy. So to him he said, Ma jivo, don't live, die. Why? Because he was doing tapasya, austerity. So, but after dying he will get a better destination. He may go to higher planets. That is happiness. May go. Beginning he is suffering, but after death he will get a better life. But to a butcher, then he went to a butcher who was killing animals. He said, Ma jivo, ma maro. Yeah, that you don't live, don't die. Because why? While living also you are suffering, killing animals, and after dying you will suffer. That is mode of ignorance. Distress in the beginning, distress in the end. So saintly person, mode of passion. Prince, mode of passion. So he is enjoying now, but later he will suffer. Brahmachari, he is mode of goodness. He is little bit suffering now, but later he will have better life. Butcher, distress in the beginning, distress in the end. Then finally fourth category is there. Then he meant a devotee, Hare Krishna devotee. To him he said, Marova Jivova. He said, whether you live or die is the same thing. Because devotees all the time they enjoy. So the fourth category is happiness in the beginning, happiness in the end. That is bhakti. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. That is transcendental happiness. So Mahaprabhu is so merciful. Parama Karuna Pahudvijana Nitai Gaura Chandra Sabavatara Sarasiramani Kevala Ananda Kanda Kevala Ananda Kanda Kevala Ananda Kanda. So Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu, they are so merciful. Param Karuna Pahudvijana. Nitai Gaurachandra. They are the essence of all incarnations. Sabhavatara Sarasirmani Kevala Ananda Kanda. So they have given us a process which is filled with Ananda. In the beginning, in the middle, in the end. Only Ananda. Other spiritual process very difficult. They have to control all yam, niyam, pranayam, asan, dhyan. So many different tough steps they have to take. But devotees in the beginning also, we are enjoying taking prasad, chanting, dancing, and in the end also will go back to Godhead, do the same thing. So there is no actual difference. Here also chanting Hare Krishna, there also will chant Hare Krishna. In our Narendra Krishna Prabhu, here also you are doing Aarti to Radha Shyam Sundar, there also do Aarti to Radha Shyam Sundar. No difference. Right? So that is a devotee's life, whether here or there. The only thing is, of course, that here we are maybe not be 100% pure, but there we do with 100% pure consciousness. And the same thing, devotees, they also cook for the Lord, they also do Aarti, they also do Kirtan, they also discuss Harikatha, they also pluck flowers, do garlands, make garlands. So this is what goes on in the spiritual world also. And also in the material world. So that is process of bhakti. Happiness in the beginning, happiness in the end. But other happiness, other kinds of happiness we have seen. Mode of passion is what? Happiness in the beginning but distress in the end. Like nectar in the beginning but poison in the end. You see, actually, if we analyze, Krishna also says in 5th chapter, Yehi sansparsha ja bhoga dukkha yona evacha adi antavantu konteya na teshu ramate buddha. So any enjoyment that is because of contact of the sense with sense object, that is always will result in misery. Krishna is giving guarantee. Dukkha yoni. That's the source of all dukkha. Any kind of happiness that is between sense and sense object, guaranteed you will see, it will result in distress. Therefore, na teshu ramate buddha. Therefore, intelligent person, they don't take interest in that. Intelligent person, what they're looking for? Ramante yogina anante. They want everlasting happiness, which is eternal. They don't want this flickering happiness. Chapala sukha lagire. The bhajan. Vajahure mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charana Ravindare Dullabha Manava Janama Satsange Tarai Bhava Sindhare Sita Atapa Bhatavarishana Edina Jamini Jagire Bifale Sevinu Kripana Durjana Chapala sukha labha lagire. Chapala sukha, very flickering happiness. Just for that little flickering happiness, people, they work so hard, they take care of the family, they work hard, they tolerate Sita, extreme winter, rain, summer, they tolerate everything. Look at people who are working, they don't miss the office today, it was raining, no, whether it's rain, it's hot, it's cold, whatever, they rush to the office or they rush to their factories to work for little happiness. But here intelligent person should either look for happiness in the mode of goodness or happiness beyond the three modes, like happiness in bhakti, which is in the beginning also joyful and in the end also joyful. That is the process of bhakti. Therefore, Prabhupada said, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. It's immediate. It's not a later we'll get result. That's the beauty of bhakti. Immediately you get result. Cheto darpana marjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvatpanam. Immediately we'll feel relief from all material sufferings. Cheto darpana marjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam. Shreya Kairav Chandika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam And the happiness in bhakti keeps on increasing. It's not fixed, it keeps on increasing. Devotee feels more and more happy, more and more joyful. That is beauty of bhakti. There is no cessation. In this material world we have law of diminishing marginal utility, right? I mean, you keep on taking more thing, its value will keep reducing. You'll not feel just like eating, let's say, gulab jamun. You take 1, 2, 3, then later, you'll not want to have that. The desire, the happiness you get keeps reducing. But in spiritual world is opposite. The more you do, anand ambudhi vardhanam. The ocean of happiness keeps on expanding. So that is the beauty of bhakti, that it's such a wonderful process. It's filled with happiness and joy. Sandrananda Visheshatma. It's filled with, so in the beginning, we may get happiness just by becoming relief from material life. That is also big happiness. But later, actually, we'll relish the happiness within bhakti. That is, cannot be compared with anything. It is said that this, you can say, material happiness, one can be having the best standard of material happiness. Let's say the richest man, but his happiness is like a drop compared to the happiness of Brahmanand, one who achieves Brahman. So this ocean of material enjoyment is like a drop compared to the happiness of Brahma Sukha. But this Brahma Sukha is like a drop compared to happiness of Bhakti. So where is this Jadanand compared to happiness in Bhakti? It's nothing. Even Brahma Sukha is like a drop compared to happiness in devotional service. So happiness in devotional service is beyond any comparison. It's happiness in the beginning, happiness in the end. It's always a joyful process of bhakti. Yes, in the beginning, sometimes little bit we may have to tolerate some poison, but that's very less. Some difficulties may be there. But if we just continue with that, just like this, when the ocean was churned, what came out first? When demigods and demons they churned the ocean, first poison came out, halal vish, and Lord Shiva came and drank that, and then came nectar. Similarly, when we do this process of bhakti, when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It's like churning the heart. So in the beginning, all dirty things may come out, and we feel, what is this process of chanting, But actually, if we keep on doing, then we'll get nectar. Just like Rupa Goswami says. Na? I'll just take out that beautiful verse what Rupa Goswami says about chanting. What kind of happiness is getting in chanting? I'm sure you must have heard that. Tunde Tandivini. Have you heard that verse?
Some translation.
Yeah, I'll read that verse. Tunde Tandivini Ratim Vitunute Tundavali Labhyate Karna Kroda Kadambini Ghatayate Karna Arbudebhya Spriham Cheta Prangana Vijayate Cheta Prangana Sangini Vijayate Sarvendriyanam Kritim No Jane Janita Kiyadbhiramrite Krishneti Varnadvai. I do not know how much nectar the two syllables Krishna have produced. When the holy name of Krishna is chanted, it appears to dance within my mouth. When we then desire many mouths. When that name enters the holes of the ears, we desire many millions of ears. Haribol. And when the holy name dances in the courtyard of the heart, it conquers the activities of the mind, and therefore all the senses become inert. Okay, so this is a verse by Rupa Goswami. He says that, he's saying, oh Krishna, what nectar is there in the two syllables? Which two syllables? Krishna. Which two syllables? Krishna. So these two syllables, Krishna. How much nectar is there? Because when I chant this holy name Krishna, what I feel? I should have thousands of mouths. What is this one mouth? I should have thousands of mouths. When the two syllables Krishna, they enter my ears. Rupa Goswami is saying, I want Aram se. We want millions of years. Not one or two. I want millions of years. Why? Because from every year I want to hear holy name. The 2 years are not enough for me to hear holy name. Prithu Maharaj also prays like that in Bhagavatam 4th canto, that I may have millions of years. Why? Because so many devotees speak Krishna Katha. Now with 2 years we can hear only one Katha at one time. Imagine if you had so many years, like we have Hindi and English Bhagavatam class, we can put 2 years in Balram Hall and 2 years in Temple Hall. So we can hear parallelly English and Hindi Bhagavatam class. So he's saying, give me so many years so that I can hear your pastimes. And then he says, when the holy name enters my heart, it conquers all my senses. So this is what is the actual real happiness which will derive when we keep on practicing sadhana bhakti. Now we may not get this kind of taste. Now when we chant holy name, it's reverse, especially for me. Oh, when this chanting will be over, when 16 rounds will be over. But here we see liberated souls like Rupa Goswami, they desire thousands of mouths and millions of ears, because they can taste the nectar coming from the two syllables Krishna. So that is the happiness, and we all will get that happiness one day if we just keep on continuing with this process of sadhana bhakti, which is also joyful, but sometimes we may feel a little bit of discomfort or some kind of distress or some kind of austerity, but we have to keep on doing that. Like another example of jaundice we have heard, Nectar of Instruction, that verse is there, that Harinam in the beginning, although it's sweet, but it may appear bitter. Why? Because we have jaundice of avidya. So like those who have jaundice, anybody had jaundice here? I had when I was very small. I remember a little bit that the taste of the mouth gets spoiled, right? You have experienced that? Yeah, everything tastes very bitter, even sweet things. But if you keep taking sweet, like glucose, one day jaundice is cured and then you can feel the sweetness of the glucose, of the sweet thing. Same thing, Harinam is the sweetest of all. But now we have this jaundice of avidya. Therefore, sometimes holy name appears to be little bitter. But don't worry, Rupa Goswami says, just keep on taking. Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sita Vidya Pito Patapta Rasanasya Na Rochikano Kintu Adaret Anudinam. But if with great care and attention, it should not be casual chanting. From our side, we should chant with great attention and seriousness. Then, Swadvi Kramat, very soon, we'll get the taste. Gatamulahantri. So same thing, in the beginning it may appear to be bitter, but in the end it will be like nectar. So this is mode of goodness. So we should always remember this principle of Bhagavad Gita, very practical, that things in the mode of happiness in the mode of passion means what? Poison. Happiness we feel is like nectar in the beginning, but poison in the end. That's mode of passion. What is happiness in mode of ignorance? Poison in the beginning, poison in the end. And what is happiness in the mode of goodness? Poison in the beginning and nectar in the end. And what is transcendental happiness? Always. Nectar in the beginning, nectar in the middle, nectar in the end. All the time we feel blissful. That is pure devotional service. So this is what we should remember. Very, very nice section of Bhagavad Gita, especially this one. 3 kinds of happiness. And Prabhupada gives very strong example of how man and woman they meet. And so in the beginning it may appear to be very relishable, but in the end it turns out to be very ghastly and poisonous. And mode of ignorance, Prabhupada says, sleep and laziness. Sometimes people, they just feel happy sleeping. You ask them, I just want to sleep. What kind of happiness is sleeping? It's like like poison in the beginning, poison in the end. And a person who sleeps always lazy, he cannot do no success, neither spiritual success, nor material success. He'll have neither of that. So this is mode of ignorance. And there are people like that. They just want to sleep, lazy, and they feel that is happiness. Because in mode of ignorance, so for them that is only happiness. I just remembered once when I was in college, once some boy, he was locked inside the room and he was not opening the door. So morning, afternoon, night, so everybody got disturbed. What happened? And then we called the, whatever the workers were called, and they broke the door, and finally he was sleeping blissfully. And when he was woken, he said, "Why do you disturb my sleep? I was sleeping, I was enjoying my sleep." So really there are people, they sleep like 20 hours. Sometimes in trains also we see like that. There's some people all the time they'll be sleeping. For them sleep is happiness. That is mode of ignorance. Or just taking drugs. So these are all like mode of ignorance. In the beginning also is poison, in the end also poison. But mode of passion means in the beginning it may seem to be very nice, but in the end it's poison. But mode of happiness means in the beginning little troublesome, but in the end nectar. That example of we saw that prince, mode of goodness, passion, butcher, mode of ignorance, and a brahmachari in mode of goodness, and a devotee beyond the three modes. For him doesn't matter, he's always happy. So these words, everything you can see three modes, and there's something beyond three modes. It's like transcendental. Okay, any questions or comments? Yes, sir.
Even though we are chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Yes.
But then also sometimes we don't feel happiness. What is that?
Yes, because our disease of avidya is not cured. That's what Rupa Goswami says. When our disease of avidya will be cured, then we'll actually feel happiness. And because we're chanting with offenses, so chanting actually, if we avoid offenses, very soon will advance. But why advancement is slow? Because of offenses. Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said, Bahu janma kari yadi shravana kirtan, tabu tana paye Krishna pade premadhan. That for many, many lives also, if you chant, but if you are committing offenses, then we will not get the holy name. So therefore we must chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. But you must avoid offenses. If you avoid offenses and chant, then very soon we will also start feeling the happiness in chanting. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, the text 37 where it is written, the first in the pursuit of self-realization. So the actions only in the pursuit of self-realization will fall under mode of goodness, and apart from this, anything we will do, like hard work for maybe it's attaining in poison, will be in the mode of passion only.
Yes, another nice point. That mode of goodness, happiness means when we are trying for self-realization. If you are trying for material happiness, then it will be counted as mode of passion only.
So how it is happiness in the beginning, in the mode of passion?
The
example of the office you gave, I was thinking it's really not pleasure at all in the beginning, like getting up early and...
Yeah, that was another context which I meant to say, that anyway tapasya is there. But you are right that that may seem to be a little bit in mode of goodness, but ultimately it's also mode of passion only. Because the end result is also flickering happiness. It's like you can say ignorance also. Distress in the beginning, distress in the end. Because you're not getting anything out of it. It's always distress.
So,
It's not goodness, either mode of passion or mode of ignorance.
because it said that the concentrate the mind on the self. So could you like help me to understand the word self here, like in the mode of goodness, mind on self? Why not mind on Krishna?
Okay, so this is because everybody is not, when you talk of self-realization, there are different class of spiritualists. Everybody don't believe in Krishna. So talking about general spiritualists, those maybe Mayavadis or different categories of spiritualists. So for them, they always talk of Atma, self. That's the beginning. And we also talk of Atma, but we say soul is servant of Krishna. So then we start thinking of Krishna. But there are certain spiritualists, they can't go up to that point. They can come only up to that point that I am not this body. I am Brahman, I am spirit. So okay, even that is mode of goodness. But beyond the three modes is devotees of Krishna, because they realize that I am servant of Krishna. That's our understanding. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Yes.
So you quoted the verse of Rupa Goswami, where Rupa Goswami says that I want millions of years, and even in Srimad Bhagavatam also, Prathu Maharaj also.
Like we have one body, then how many years would be there?
No, but what is the inner meaning of that? Because I am not sure, but in some lecture I heard that it has some other meaning.
No, inner meaning.
Is different, but meaning.
Yeah, inner meaning means it's a poetic way of saying, of course, we can't have ears all over the body. It means that we are so eager to hear that if you like, oh, I wish I had so many ears, like that. Just like the gopis, they pray that why Brahma made this eyelid, because we are not able to have darshan of Krishna. But if there is no eyelid, then we'll look so odd. So it's just a poetic way that means the eagerness to have darshan of Krishna, or the eagerness to hear Krishna Katha, that we want millions of years. I want to constantly hear Krishna Katha. That's the meaning of.
The prayer is for asking eagerness.
Yes, eagerness, yes.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So, Prabhuji, as you mentioned, like at a given point of time, like being a devotee, we are in a mode of goodness, some percentage of passion and ignorance is there. But how to ensure, like always be in a, transcend this three mode and be spiritually.
Nice question. Yeah, as devotees, we are always in these three modes. Yes, because we are conditioned souls. We are sometimes overcome by passion, ignorance, goodness. So therefore, first, Srila Prabhupada explains that we must at least try to come to mode of goodness. Then we can go beyond goodness. We should not say that directly from ignorance I jump to transcendental platform. No. It's like another example I heard, just like you have to catch a flight, you have to go to the airport. You can't catch a flight from the road. So similarly, if you are in mode of ignorance and passion, so first try to come to the mode of goodness. That's important. So therefore, very nice point that as devotees also, we should try to come to mode of goodness as much as possible. How? For example, what is symptoms of mode of goodness? Like getting up early in the morning, wearing simple clothes in the mode of goodness, eating food in the mode of goodness, not eating pizza, pasta all the time in the name of prasadam. That's not mode of goodness. So eating food that is in mode of goodness, wearing clothes that is mode of goodness. And so like that, our lifestyle we can slowly bring to the mode of goodness. Yes, and associating with those in the mode of goodness, correct. That also helps. But yes, then we have to transcend beyond goodness and come to transcendental platform. But first we have to come to mode of goodness. And another process also, in Bhagavatam it is said, Shrinvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Ridantasya Bhadrani Vidhunoti Surat Satam Tada Rajastamo Bhava Kama Lobha Deshe Chetar Eter Anavidam Sthitam Sattve Prasidati. It is said by hearing Krishna Katha, by chanting Krishna's names, so all the abhadra from the heart is destroyed. And the person, the mode of passion, ignorance is removed and the person comes to mode of goodness. What is another symptom? It is said, mode of passion means greed. Greed and lust. These are kam and lobh. These are the two main symptoms of mode of passion. But as we hear Krishna Katha, as we keep chanting, the Rajagun and Tamogun will go away. And then we will be situated in mode of goodness and then pure goodness. Yes, Mataji.
Unless we come to offenseless stages chanting, we can't enjoy real nectar of Krishna's names. That is what you
Yes, Mataji, very true. Unless we are freed from offenses, we cannot taste the nectar of holy name. Yes.
So how
Okay, so the answer, how to come to the offenseless stage of chanting? The answer is by trying to avoid offenses and keep on chanting. So as we keep on chanting and avoid the offenses, you know the 10 offenses, right? To blaspheme devotees, to consider the name of demigods like Brahma and Shiva to be equal to independent of the Supreme Lord, to disobey the orders of spiritual master, to blaspheme Vedic literatures, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra to imagination, to give some mundane interpretation to the holy name of the Lord, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name, to consider chanting of the holy name to be one of the auspicious ritualistic activities of mentioned in the Vedic Karma Kanda. 9th, to instruct a faithless person about glories of holy name. And 10th, to maintain material attachment even after hearing so many instructions on this matter. And also to be inattentive while chanting. So these are the 10 offenses. So we try to avoid those 10 offenses and try as sincerely chant. So then
We can avoid the first 9 offenses which I have mentioned probably, but what about that inattentive chanting? Our mind keeps on flickering to chanting.
yes, very nice question. As long as we are trying to control the mind, it's not an offense. Sometimes we just don't care. Okay, Hare, it's okay, I can read my mobile and just somehow Hare Krishna, look here, look there. So intentionally you are allowing the mind to go.
We try to control the mind,
Then it's not an offense.
but in 1 minute it goes thousands of
I know. So that's how we have to pray to Krishna. So as long as we are trying, there are some tips also. Like they say, at least try to hear one mantra at a time. So force your mind, okay, at least let me hear one mantra, if not more. So try to hear. So sometimes, I see in one round, we sometimes do not even hear one mantra.
Yes, after doing 16 rounds, I feel that I didn't even do one round properly.
Exactly. So therefore, it is said in Japa workshop, they say that give your mind small target. Let me hear this one mantra I am chanting. Let us try. Only one mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So one mantra. So focus on one mantra at a time. Yes.
And also chanting along with Prabhupada also helps in Prabhuji.
Yes, Srila Prabhupada also helps. Yes, Krishna also helps, definitely.
Arjuna asked Chanchalam, Krishna, Lord Krishna answered that Abhyas Yogen to counter Vairagya.
Yes, very nice point that Arjuna also asked Krishna same question, mind is very flickering, how to control? So Krishna said 2 answers, Abhyas, practice, and Vairagya, detachment. Why mind goes here and there? Because attached to so many things. So if you become slowly detached, mind will not go here and there. We are attached to our friends, we are attached to our positions, we are attached to our prestige, so many things. Therefore mind goes here, there. If all the attachments are cut, then mind will not go. Vairagya. So Abhyas and Vairagya.
Divert to the interesting stories of the Bhagavatam.
Yes, that is also a nice point. Actually, Sachinand Maharaj, few days back, he gave Bhagavatam class. He told the same point. That if we fill ourselves with so much of Krishna Katha, so if the mind will go, okay, go to Krishna Katha. If the mind wants to think, it should not be artificial. Naturally, just like naturally now mind goes here and there. If we keep hearing so much Krishna Katha while chanting, naturally some pastime may come in mind. Which is good, no problem. Very good. Not a problem. But from our side, we should try to hear the holy name. And the mind will try and go here and there. So if we feed our mind with so much Krishna Katha, mind will go to some Krishna's pastimes. Yes.
So is it okay to concentrate on some pastimes of the Lord rather than...
Again, it's a little tricky thing. Like Srila Prabhupada says, we should not artificially try to think of some pastime. Try to focus. Prabhupada says, just hear. But while hearing, mind goes here and there. So if you are filled with Krishna Katha, then instead of mind going to any material thing, at least the mind will go to some Krishna's pastime, which is better.
But sometimes we feel so vexed up with the mind going on to material things that sometimes even we try to concentrate on some Krishna Katha instead of allowing the mind to go on to some...
Yes, that is also good. It's better than mind going here and there. At least think of some Krishna Katha. Good. Yes, Mataji.
Normally because why it happens, because our mind is so polluted with material contaminations. So that is why we are not able to concentrate. But slowly and gradually, when you keep chanting and that faith in that chanting is there, these things will gradually pass away. Means this is what is happening to us. I can feel about myself.
Yeah, good realization. Yes.
Too much of material contamination, but with gradual chanting and realization and that attachment to Krishna, detachment to materialistic pleasures and materialistic attachments, then you automatically it will work.
Yes, very nice point, Mataji. Yeah. We just have to continue this process and automatically we'll see the material attachments are reducing.
Somewhere I have read that Hari Smriti Sarvipad Vimochana. Remember the Lord, everything will go.
Yes, there's a beautiful verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Kathanchana smrite yasmin duskaram shukaram bhavit vismritya viparitasyam Sri Chaitanya namamitum. Have you heard this? That Kathanchana smrite yasmin, that somehow or other remember the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What will happen? Duskaram shukaram bhavit. What is something very difficult to do, it will become very easy. So like, yes, Mataji, you're right. The chanting, controlling the mind is very difficult. Therefore we say Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. By remembering Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, most difficult things become easy. And reverse, by forgetting Mahaprabhu, easy things also will become difficult. So that is how the process of bhakti, that we are not depending on our own strength. That, oh, I am so, like yogis, what they do, Buddhist, like you said, one mantra mind goes, so Buddhists, they try to divide. Okay, 1 minute, how many thoughts? Let me try to stop that thought. Then 1 second, how many thoughts? 1 millisecond, how many thoughts? So like that, they try to, go deep and they want to make the mind thoughtless by their own efforts. But devotees are not like that. They depend on Krishna. That by Krishna's mercy, all my material desires will go and I'll get taste for the holy name. Yes, Prabhuji.
So just remember one verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. It really helped me. And it says, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Ei Sobhav, Jai Jape, Hare Krishna Upajaya Bhav.
Yes, yes.
So that is a potency of Harinam. If you are not having interest or diverting, like 2 more rounds.
Yes, a very nice point. Chant more. And it's a swabhav. That means, just like another example, like fire. Whether you know or don't, it will burn. So Harinam is so powerful. If you just keep on chanting, definitely upajaya bhav, that it will, the bhav for Krishna will arise. Very nice point, yes.
Lord Chaitanya says in the Shikshashtakam, how can chant all the time.
Yes, that is also the formula to chant all the time. Trinadapi sunichena taruravaseshuna amanina manatena kirtana sadari. 99% of our problems in life will be solved if we can just follow this one verse. But this one verse we are not able to follow. That's the root of all problems actually. Right, right. Yes, thank you so much for your nice participation. Please bless me that I can also chant nicely. Hare Krishna.